One of the greatest free ports in the world stretches out before the front door of Red China, Hong Kong. On the tiny island and on Kowloon Peninsula, over 3 million people live today. At least one out of every three has been driven here by the communist regime in Red China. The Hong Kong government is rapidly constructing housing blocks to absorb the tremendously swollen population. Yet, an overflow of 500,000 refugees still crowd the slopes in shacks. A burden on the limited water supply is one of the countless problems that arise when too many people are concentrated in too little space. The number one problem is unemployment. Some of the more fortunate refugees bring from their homeland skills and training in crafts and industry. They set up tiny work stalls wherever they can. Tao Tse Chang, like the majority of shack dwellers, must go to public standpipes to drink or wash. He is 12 years old. He and his family live as squatters on the Dragon Hills of Kowloon. Even though he's very young, Tao Tse is anxiously trying to find a job to help support his family. Neither of his parents has been able to find work since the family's arrival from Red China. The horde of refugees who have fled from the communist-controlled mainland has caused an overwhelming competition for employment. Jobs are not easy to find, and those who are fortunate enough to get jobs must work tenaciously to keep them. Tao Tse's father has been unemployed for several months. He brought his family from Canton. Their few possessions in China were confiscated by the communists. Tao Tse's father is an uneducated man, and the boy himself can barely read. For every newspaper want ad, there's a swarm of applicants. His father also knows this only too well. He knows that it would be hopeless for Tao Tse to get a job because he has had too little education. Even a trained, mature man has a difficult time finding work. Hong Kong is a city of contrasts. Poverty and riches coexist. The colony houses the world's most concentrated refugee problem. At the same time, it contains much of the wealth of East Asia. Not only the desperately poor have fled to Hong Kong. Frightened Chinese industrialists have moved themselves and their fortunes to the security of the colony. Contradictions are common. The reputable century-old Hong Kong and Shanghai Bank stands squarely beside an imposing new neighbor, the communist-controlled Bank of China. The colony is rapidly becoming a world center of industry. Hong Kong traditionally lived by trade alone, but when Chinese industrialists fled to the colony, they invested their capital. Today, local industry plays an ever-increasing part in Hong Kong's economy. New factories and workshops create more jobs. Yet, the unemployment situation remains grim. Thousands perch on the rooftops of tenements, unable to find suitable homes. The fisher folk live in the boat cities of Hong Kong's harbor. One sees the junks and sampans of the sea gypsies in every creek and bay. All shades of political opinion intermingle in Hong Kong. On many a mast flies the communist flag. In the midst of these contrasts and contradictions stands the Hong Kong Council of the Church of Christ in China. Morrison Memorial Center is the headquarters of the Council's activities. 8 mission groups united to form the Hong Kong Council. Dr. Peter Wong is the General Secretary of the Council. He escaped from the China mainland in 1957. We asked Dr. Wong to describe the church which he serves.
The Church of Christ in China is by no means an exile organization. After all, we have been working here in Hong Kong for over 100 years. The needs right here today are greater than ever before. Let's come with me and see the work of our church.
The Hong Kong Council is caring for the colony's underprivileged through projects such as the Chuk Yen Family Life Center. The center serves the resettlement area on Chuk Yen Hill in Kowloon, responding to family needs at all levels. Children, of course, are given special love and care. The Family Life Center, formed in 1956, is already making an impact on the way of life of many refugees. Through cooperation of several Christian groups, it is able to extend a ministry far beyond what individual churches assumed in the past. For as much as ye have done it unto the least of these, ye have done it unto me. One feature of the Chuk Yen Family Life Center is a health program. Free medical care is administered at the clinic. Infant care is emphasized because of the phenomenal increase in the number of births in Hong Kong, where over 100,000 babies are born each year. The babies of Hong Kong are handicapped from the start by crowded quarters, inadequate sanitation, malnutrition, disease. A rooftop nursery was opened in 1961 for the children of working mothers. The children are given 3 meals a day and the guidance and security vital to their future. The tragedy is that only a few from the most underprivileged families in the district can be accommodated. Thousands of others must grow up in the streets. Christian young people provide service at the Family Life Center under the guidance of Ah Chin, the director. Thus, young people gain spiritual insight for themselves and give assistance to others. The Youth Fellowship Group holds its work camp at the Family Life Center. Students spend their summer vacations building extensions for the center. Ah Chin has had many years' experience in youth work. He feels the young are the strategic group in Hong Kong. By their example and cooperation, and by their enthusiasm, they can strengthen the church and extend its ministry. An active group at the Family Life Center is the Club for Senior Citizens, who see in the joy of children a reflection of their own childhood. Thus, the church touches the lives of the entire community in the name of the one who offers abundant life. Elderly men and women, materially deprived and distressed, seek spiritual solace and understanding of the Word of God. Through the Senior Citizens Club, they gain self-respect, a feeling of usefulness, of belonging. Through prayer and fellowship, lives are being transformed. Puying Middle School is housed in a 7-story building constructed by the church with financial assistance from the Hong Kong government. The 2,600 students at Puying receive an excellent education in a Christian atmosphere. The school building itself was completed in 1958, but Puying is not new. Its beginning dates back to 1897 at Canton, China. On the eve of World War II, a second unit of the school was opened in Hong Kong as a refugee institution for students fleeing from the Japanese army. The mother institution in Canton ceased to exist as a Christian school when the communists seized the mainland. Since then, educational activity has focused on achieving excellence in education, and all to the end that, knowing the truth, men shall be made free. Biology has been taught at Puying by Professor Lu Wo-chun for over 15 years. He is a Christian, as are most of his colleagues. In domestic science, students are trained in food preparation. A favorite Chinese delicacy is ham su yuk, a spiced meat that is sealed in a thin layer of sweet dough and deep fried. Miss Suk Chong Wu requires her students to prepare both a European and a Chinese dinner for their final examination. Faculty members are invited to the dinner and served by the students. Not only the art of cooking, but gracious hospitality are learned here. Students at Puying enjoy scores of extracurricular activities such as the Silver Band. Their 50 instruments were donated by Puying alumni. Volleyball stands high on the list of popular activities. Gold medals have been won in the Far East Olympic Games by Puying students. Another Christian institution is Chung Chi College, opened in 1951 by the Church of Christ in China. The school filled the need for higher education for Chinese refugees, and classes were held wherever space allowed. There was no other Christian college in Hong Kong at that time, and only one government school, the University of Hong Kong. Hence, this Christian college grew out of a great necessity. Thanks in part to a grant from the Hong Kong government, students today enjoy a beautiful campus cradled among rolling hills outside Kowloon. Within only a few years, Chung Chi College has become an accredited university, conferring degrees recognized in many lands, with a distinguished international faculty whose qualifications and motivations are of the highest order. Graduates in Hong Kong face the future with the same confidence enjoyed by graduates all over the world. However, they are not unaware of their problems. Hoc Fuc Tong, a training and theological center, was opened by the Church of Christ in China in the year 1952. The center holds retreats for Christian workers and the training of lay people. Here, through Christian education, the church opens doors of learning to those who would learn. If we would ask the why of all this, we may find our answer here. The possession of eternal truth, learned in the classroom, carries with it a responsibility to share it with others. As students teach Sunday school each week to children along the seashore, they are aware of their responsibility to go and teach others also. The children are from fishing families who have come from the mainland. Most of these children of the sea will live out their lives aboard sampans, but may do so with the Galileans' faith in their hearts. Dr. Wong and other Christian leaders in Hong Kong are aware that the church must minister to the whole man in all his needs, respond to all levels of need, in education, in children's work, youth activities, community welfare, and in medical services. Across the bay from Hong Kong is a small refugee camp called Rennie's Mill. Here the church serves the physical needs of men with a medical clinic and a tuberculosis sanatorium. A Christian church can hardly ignore the physical suffering all around it. The church clinic treats over 40,000 patients a year. Dr. Ellen Clow, the resident physician, works under constant pressure, diagnosing and treating as many as 150 patients in a single day, all in the name of the healer of Galilee. The greatest single health menace in the colony is tuberculosis. Yet progress is being made in controlling the disease. TB deaths among children have been reduced 20% within 5 years. Knowing it is a greater thing to be forgiven of sin than healed of body, the church's evangelistic outreach is closely tied to its medical services. Thousands of Hong Kong's refugees, uprooted from their homeland, have suffered misery and degradation. The clinic's devoted staff patiently restores broken lives in the name and spirit of Christ. And yet, the task remains largely before us. At the beginning and end of each day, the task grows at a greater rate than our resources. Dr. Wong faces the need for more trained staff, more qualified leaders in every area of service. One of the finest and oldest girls' schools in the colony is Kowloon True Light Middle School. It was transplanted from China to Kowloon at the onset of the communist regime. More people speak the Chinese language than any other in the world. The lingua franca of education is English. Hence, it is taught in these classrooms. Modern educational equipment is employed to acquire correct pronunciation of English words. Instructor of the speech class, an American missionary, is a representative of the 8 church bodies aligned with the Hong Kong Council of the Church of Christ in China. Traditional Chinese folk games are a children's delight, especially when there is an audience of proud mothers and other students. Girls from Kowloon True Light, who study to become teachers, observe children's activities in a demonstration school. Christian service centers are opening amid developing industrial areas of Hong Kong. Staff workers at such centers are representatives of the Hong Kong Council of the Church of Christ in China. The rapid growth of industry is giving rise to new jobs and new kinds of work. They in turn are creating a new class in Hong Kong, the industrial worker. Men who hold jobs in textile, weaving, ironwork, or enamelware factories are emerging as an element of concern in the church's total encounter with the world. The church is providing a program of recreational activities to establish preliminary contact with the workers and to show that the church is really interested. It does care. The men of the junks and sampans live much as their forefathers have lived for centuries. Time appears to have passed them by, but not so. Today is Sunday morning. The children must be briskly scrubbed and combed for church. Each child helps the other. The family is soon ready to leave its floating house and wend its way through the fishing district to church. There are 24 congregations affiliated with the Church of Christ in China. Church membership is over 15,000. All across the East each Sunday, families are finding their way to the house of God. In Hong Kong, Malaya, Borneo, the Philippines, Formosa, and even secretly on the mainland of China. Thus is continued a testimony and ministry which emanated from that great body of believers that was and is the Church of Christ in China. Only time, and possibly only eternity, will tell of the full outreach of Chinese Christian witness to the whole of Asia. Perhaps even as the first century church was persecuted and scattered, resulting in the wide propagation of truth, the affliction of Chinese Christians today will be, in final effect, a blessing to the world and the cause of Christ. For in Hong Kong, we see it illustrated in the baptism of believers who might never have heard the truth. If communism had not decreed, they shall be denied the truth. And if a world Christian community had not replied, they shall know the truth, and the truth shall make them free. Yesterday, a cross over Hong Kong. It symbolizes a ministry only possible because the churches serving Hong Kong have joined hands with the Church of Christ in China in response to great human need, and have determined that even Hong Kong's children have a right to play. That Hong Kong's youth has a right to learn and grow and know of that kingdom which does not recognize curtains of bamboo or any other hindrance to truth. High over Hong Kong, an invisible cross bears unchanging witness to that truth.